confused, disorganised, maybe even shambolic. Don't worry, Wilfred Nancy. I'm talking about the record sport Christmas night out rather than Celtic's form under the new boss.
Right.
But we survived it, didn't we?
Chortle.
I'm
terrible. Hi, Mike.
Yeah, a wee bit like Wilfred Nancy's team right now. We kind of started brightly, then went downhill very rapidly. Second half collapses were a common occurrence in our night out as well. Hey, I'm Michael Gannon. This is Graeme Young. This is Game On. Where we always keep our shape, don't we, sir? Yes. Just about. As usual, tackling the big sporting topics up against the clock. It's Christmas, obviously, but unfortunately for some, there's not a lot of festive cheer going about, especially in Scottish football. So let's get started. We'll start with where else can we start really, with Celtic and Wilfred Nancy. There's talk already about the Denmark. Is there any way back for Wilfred Nancy at Celtic? 4 games, 4 defeats. People talking about him going already. Is there a way back?
I don't think there is. And
4 games?
It sounds, I think if you said it before he took over, but it just feels wrong in every level. And there's been other examples in football. I remember Frank de Boer at Crystal Palace was one. The great Gasperini obviously plays his 3-4-3. He moved to Inter, was the wrong fit. Football sometimes just doesn't work, and I think Celtic, when it already feels it's in that stay of execution mode, there's never any coming back to that. I think that's the issue where these players, this group, when he's come in, I think it's made to look worse by the success Anil had. But Anil, I think, is acutely aware that his body of work in those 9 games, he was able to do something that wasn't sustainable with that group of players.
Aye, it was camouflage.
It was camouflage. And I feel that now, I think Nancy, listen, I'm really looking for whatever comes next. I think you really need to learn from that style, putting this formation on a team that's just ill-equipped. And everything's wrong. And I think there's been a bit of bad fortune as well. Maeda hitting the post, Dundee United turned it into...
But Celtic have conceded too many shots in the last 4 games. I think they're up 40-odd shots they're conceding in the 4 games. It's not very well.
It feels the wrong fit.
Listen, the chickens are coming home to roost for Celtic. This is where they are is because of poor recruitment and injuries to key men, and the combination of both has created this environment. Obviously, the behind the scenes around the club are not great, which means the man's walked into a situation which is pretty toxic already, and he's had a bad start. Yeah, I think you're right. It's at that point now that he might win a couple of games. If he loses against Rangers, then it's another couple of games, and he loses another one. His pressure's going to be on big time. This start is put him really behind the 8 ball, and he's looking like the wrong man, the wrong movie. But it's a big decision time for Celtic now. Do they stick with it? If they're saying that there's one to stick by him, they have to back him in January, and he goes and buys players for a system that might not last. These are big moments that. I think 4 games is a ridiculously early time to be sacking a manager. But there's some big calls to be made.
If it's not right, it's not right. It feels that way. The faces at training look exceedingly.
Well, any other job, you get a probation period. If you don't cut it, at the end of the probation period, you say, right, you're not getting the job full time. My probation period is 15 years, I reckon. And I'm constantly living in fear that it's going to come to an end at some point. But listen, talking about probationary periods and that stuff, where has it all gone wrong for Nancy? I'll tell you what, I'm surprised he has jumped in and tried to change so much so quickly. I think he had 3 or 4 weeks when he knew he was getting the job. He could have assessed the squad from afar, spoken to people in and around the club. I do think it was naive to go in there and think, I'm going to play my way from game 1, which is Hearts, who are an extremely organised team, who figured out how they were going to play and done a job on them. I get that game could have went either way. Roma, I think, is a free pass. I thought the cup final was a bit of a shocker. The worrying thing for me about the manager is that in the 3 domestic games, Hearts, Mirren and Dundee United, that Celtic started fairly brightly and looked like quite an exciting attacking team, made chances, should have scored. Again, the lack of a decent striker is punishing them. But what happened at half-time in each of these games is that the managers, when you've got McInnes, Stephen Robinson and Jim Goodwin, they figured out ways to combat Celtic style. They changed things, and Celtic couldn't cope with the changes and were punished for it in the second half. That I worry that in-game management wasn't there to recognise that tactics had changed in opposition. Things like going 1 centre half against Dundee United at Tannadice, who are the second best set piece team in the league. And then what happens? There's 2 goals coming from second phase from corner kicks. at St Mirren in the cup final, having going man for man marking when they were zone marking before, and you end up with two centre halves, only two guys of the height who can hit a ball on the penalty spot when the ball's in the back of the net after 90 seconds. These are things that I think are concerns that are going wrong, and they need to be addressed. Celtic need to get back, it sounds a pure cliche phrase, back to basics, get the players playing positions they're comfortable with, and doing the basic defending they need to do. Whether that's on the manager or the players or both, it has to get sorted. That's where it's going wrong for me.
And I think opponent-wise as well, that I think in the MLS schedule, it's always, because it runs all season, you're playing all over the country. I do believe that in MLS, you're focusing on yourself, your style of play, and implementing that and forcing it on the opposition. I think Scottish football's different. I think there's too much variables there in terms
So
of...
do you think Nancy has underestimated the opposition?
100%.
Yeah,
I think he's guilty as charged for that.
Yeah.
It just feels that it's unnamed opponent they're playing, and this is how we play. But Celtic and this current guys are not good enough.
People need to help him and say, listen, you have to recognise who you're up against. Aberdeen this weekend. Another team that are the Jimmy Tilleen's organised. Also quite handy. Set piece, a bit of pace in the break. You know what they're going to do now.
Yep.
So it's a big test, and this is what leads into the next question. Listen, Celtic are currently second. Rangers are coming up the inside lane. Can Celtic finish third this season the way it's heading?
I think obviously Chris Sutton said that line, and do you know what I think is would maybe encapsulate where Celtic are is the fact that 13 out the last 14 titles, right? They've never been out with the top two since the 90s.
No,
but nothing would sum up Celtic's demise than finishing third, because that is just such a fall off the cliff that and there's no reason why not. Listen, Rangers are 3 points behind potentially now if they push on. They've obviously got a massive game at the weekend. Hearts feel legitimate, and I think Hearts, with what we've seen and what we know they're probably going to do in January, feel like a team equipped to go the full season, and that if that's winning the league or otherwise, but being in the mix. Celtic really do feel troubled. Ian Attrell, we both spoke about how he added a focal point to this team. He's gone. The lack of wingers in this formation doesn't add to creating chances. Everything that possibly could go wrong this season, I think seeing Jota, Cameron, Carter Vickers and Alistair Johnson in the stands underlines it as well. But this feels like a team that has no guarantees. It doesn't feel
people are saying there's COVID season vibes. I think this is
worse.
far worse than the COVID season.
I totally agree with you.
I think the COVID season team wipes the floor with the current team.
Yep. They were victims in another way of the best Rangers team in recent memory, just coming to the fore, didn't miss a beat, didn't lose a game all season.
They put pressure on them.
Exactly.
That's win every week, yeah.
All those games in hand as well.
Yeah.
You're bang on. You're
but they've certainly more attacking options.
Oh,
I mean, Edwards and Griffiths and Elyounoussi. I think Celtic are really struggling now. I think.
What do you think?
At this point in time, unless there's major changes in January and a kind of a rethink from the management team, I think Celtic are now heading for third. I think they're heading for third. I think because what we're seeing with this Celtic team just now is that the Celtic, for the first time in recent memory, that in any given Saturday, they're. I go back. Most weekends up until the last for the last 10, 15 years, there's not a single player in that team against Celtic who would get in the Celtic team. Most weeks, maybe one or two at a push. Rangers maybe had 1 or 2 or 3 at a push. I think you're now looking at a flip side, and there's current Celtic lineups now that there's 4 or 5 players who wouldn't get in the opposition team. You know what I mean? There's 4 or 5 starters in the team at the moment who wouldn't get a game for Hearts, who wouldn't get a game for Rangers, wouldn't get a game for Hibs, wouldn't get a game for Aberdeen, wouldn't get a game for Motherwell. I'm talking strikers and wingers and guys in key positions who wouldn't get a game for their rivals. And all of a sudden, people are saying, why are they dropping points? Because that's why. Because Celtic have now regressed into the kind of pack because they get players that wouldn't get a game for Dundee. And that's what do you expect? If they're playing with players level that's the level they're at, they're going to end up struggling, and that's what's happened. So I think at this point in time they'll get a fight to finish third. That's the reality. Likewise, it's the same kind of question, isn't it? Really, are Rangers back in the title race?
They are until Sunday, and it's absolutely they are because whatever Wilfred Nancy's been unable to do at Celtic, Danny Rowe has at Rangers, and listen, he's even like a couple
20 points out of 24.
Exactly. Remember the optics after the draw with Falkirk, coupled with the Dundee United draw, that it was like, listen, this club, there's no way, but he's just been solely able to get results. Mikey Moore feels a proper player that's making a difference. Miovski looks more like himself. He hopefully, for Rangers' point of view, he won't bout too long because he makes them a better team. But there's something there, and this is such a bizarre season.
They start scoring goals, which is I think the problem at the start of the season. They can't score goals. I mean,
that's it.
There's a lot of draws. I mean, they've only lost one game this season, Rangers.
I know they've not lost an away game in the league since last December.
So when you be a lot of draws, you think there's maybe a slight improvement can maybe change that into wins. That's what's happened. They start scoring goals, haven't they?
Yeah.
Having barely, I mean, they couldn't hit a coup in the backside at the start of the season. They started getting them up domestically anyway. They started scoring goals, and now Celtic have the problem they can't score a goal. I think they're back in the race. I think Hearts have done really well.
Flip it quickly to you. If they lose, they go 12 points behind Hearts at the weekend with a game in hand. Is that insurmountable for a
12 points? I think is a decent gap. Yeah, I think Hearts are now in the box seat. I think there's no doubt about it. I think the way it's going now. I think Hearts have got a good squad, but I think there will be a time when that squad is stretched a wee bit, and there will be points spilled. I don't think this is going to be a season when there's going to be 90 points. It will take 90 points to win the league. I think it'll be a kind of 83, 84 point season, which I think keeps everybody in it. And I think Rangers can get to 80 odd points. They've got head of steam just now domestically. After the new year, do you think they'll strengthen and they bring a few out, a few in? I think they'll be in that mix. Obviously, you're right. The big clash at weekend will set the tone. But I think they're going to be in that hunt. I wouldn't surprise me. I think this season is such a bizarre season. But I've now flipped, and I think Hearts are going to go and go on. They'll never have a better chance to do it. Yeah. So I think it's a three horse race now. But listen, Fuller, we've chipped Muller in there as well.
They've drawn too many games. Are they honestly they're that good? They play every week. Listen, a couple more wins, they would be.
If Muller can get a couple more, maybe we can get another kind of a wee one of their nugget strikers. They sometimes find that can bang in 15 goals in the second half of the season. Tell you what, watch the mighty well. Maybe on the charge as well. A 4-horse race for the title.
They're spoiling us.
Listen, speaking of Rangers and transfers in January, what's top of the list for Danny Rowe?
That's the funny thing that kind of jars we can win the league. You could probably strengthen the every position.
What do you need? What is the top of the list for him?
I think as good as Miovski's been, see a kind of Claudia Braga-esque player playing off a Miovski, right? Really joining the lines. I think that'd be really important. A central defender would be massive. I also feel that Magoma's been much improved in recent weeks. Maybe you can put Tavernier inside if you get a better right back than Aarons, but again, people are saying he's playing better. And then I think midfield, Raskin, for whatever reason, hasn't been as good as last season. Diamande doesn't do it for me personally. I think he's too inconsistent, and Connor Barnes kind of exceeded expectations. So I think there's real room. Every team can do an upgrade in midfield, but I really feel that kind of maverick playmaker, what Asgard probably should be, which doesn't feel fit for the stage. I just think an X Factor playing the final third coupled with Mikey Moore and Miovski improved. But as again, I could go through the whole team and see places for upgrades, and that again maybe shows where the league is this season.
Yeah, I still think striker is an issue. I mean, I think Danilo has been a letdown. I know he's had injury problems, but I mean a lot of money. I don't think he's cut it. We know Chermitis struggles. I think Miovski again, like a lot of strikers, a confidence player, and you can see his confidence coming back. I thought his finish over in Europe the other week was a sign that he's.
I know
a bit more about him.
They talk about Miovski needs space to run behind, but I think it's a confidence for this guy as much.
No, I don't think he's that quick, but I think he's a guy. If the ball drops, he can hit it.
Yeah, so that space to move in.
Just let him be in there and getting wee bits. And if you get the ball in the box, he will gobble up a few. I think he wants again. When the confidence starting to come back, he might get a few goals, but the rest need to chip in. So a striker, but that's
you think like a fox in the box, Jermaine Defoe style, this guy that maybe plays off Miovski, or still play that one up front, or
a bit up and down. I think he's at times look good. You can stick by him. I think Ant-Man's been a bit disappointing after a good start. So I think in the attacking areas, I think they do need a bit of work. But like you say, I get the point. Is that defensively they've had some struggle at times. They'll get a tendency at the back to go a bit haywire at times. So I think that might be an area that you want to get that sorted as well, because they said they've stayed in a lot of games and not lost many games. But these lapses have cost them at times. Yeah. So yeah, he's got a lot to think about. I think I think that's most managers. He's shortlisted, but
No,
like
it's like a January window.
like my
It's like a summer
like
window.
my daughter's Santa list. It's like the phone book. Um, but listen, talking about lists, how about a greatest ever list? We'll rewind to last weekend. I know it feels like a lifetime ago already. But St Mirren triumph at hand. A lot of the post match fallout is obviously about Celtic and the collapse. But what about the achievement for St Mirren? And what about Stephen Robinson? Is he now? Is it time for the old statue in Paisley of
Oh,
Stephen Robinson?
100%. And I think as well that even an old, I think when you know it is the old timers that maybe revered Sir Alex's reign as well, that I think there's a feeling that what he's accomplished at St Mirren only is brilliant. And sometimes, do you know when teams, say for instance, St Mirren finished in the bottom half this year and didn't win the cup, that top six treble, things are quickly forgotten. But I think we know in this world how hard that is, even for teams right now like Hibs or Dundee United. Not every team's managing to do it. So that consistency over 3 years, and then they just felt what really made it a special day, I think, for everyone in the stadium was the fact they felt destined for that. That they'd been building up towards that, exposed a Celtic team riddled with flaws, and you just see a manager who's criminally underrated. And I know he's had a couple of spells in England, but I don't think there's many managers who consistently match teams better than them in their league every time they play. They've just got a great way about them, physical but clever. They play the percentages as well as any team. This guy is an elite manager, and I genuinely believe, I think St Mirren will want him forever, but I think there's something even greater in Stephen Robinson's future. I think everything he's learned to this point has got to be one of the most appealing candidates for big jobs in Britain, honestly.
I think he's got a great case to be the greatest. I mean, St Mirren. I mean, St Mirren's been great managers through the years. I just think the consistency, like you say, the consistency, the high finishes, the European football, and now crowning all that. I think it's been a great period for St Mirren, no matter what. A real proper super. But to get the experience of winning that cup as well, I know I've done it again. The 2013 they won the League Cup as well. A great achievement, and these guys are heroes. Alex Smith for me, Sir Alex should be Sir Alex Smith. Like his old pal Sir Alex Ferguson, I think is obviously won the Scottish Cup '87. One of my great memories is of that cup. I was more like a young bairn. Maybe 7 or 8 years old. I just remember it. It was a fantastic final, and a great achievement. Great team. That's a great St Mirren team as well, wasn't it? So Alex Smith and I think so. I would have a kind of joint title with Stephen Robinson and Alex Smith.
That's nice. I think just a quick word for
currently, I think he's now living in Australia. Alex Smith living the life in Australia. Great guy. Although he did bin me off when he was manager of Clyde when I was only 16. I got a dear John. I got a dear John. No, didn't make the cut.
Sorry, that shows you the mark of you still.
Aye,
bygones be bygones.
I reminded him about it, and he said it was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in football. Actually, no, he didn't even remember me. He never even remembered me. So,
but listen, St Mirren are a cracking club. I think that needs to be said as well. In this world where everybody's doom and gloom, they just run well. They treat the kids that come to the games really well, and I think the city just gets. It's not a city; it's a big town, but I think it's well deserved.
Aye,
well, that's big town.
Bouncing this week, that's for sure.
That's it.
Aye. Next up, Kilmarnock. Talking about cracking towns and cracking clubs. Sure, Kettlewell, obviously, time called. It's a bit of a shame, I think. We got a good start at the club.
I disagree with Kettlewell. I don't mean this bad, but I felt the way that ended at Motherwell, and I always felt he was an uphill. I think it was a tough sell for Kilmarnock fans just for that. And listen, it's not against. I think he's a perfectly decent coach, and I always think his teams are always quite unlucky. They lose a lot of close games.
Aye,
but I just think the optics are wrong. Billy Bowie's not made many mistakes, but that might be one of them.
Some fans didn't really take to the appointment, did they?
I just think people didn't like.
When that happens, you're up against it, aren't you? Yeah. I think it's a good start as well. It just the last sort of 10 games that I won. I think a good coach.
I agree. Actually,
makes a lot of sense. But the question is, who's next? Yeah. Who do you think's next?
Well, Peter Leven seems like a name in the frame. I think it's another one who's done good work, but I think it's a big gap. It's so hard. I think you would call it the Askew rule, right? Where clubs in Scotland have get recent evidence of this kind of foreign miracle worker coming in. That if deep down, if you feel you could get a manager at that level, you would risk it. But there's always, when teams are toiling, it's a conservative approach. So I think that's the balance for Kilmarnock. I think we know Billy Bowie's done great work. I think what he had with Derek McInnes, if there's any evidence of the work that was there, I think you'd see what happens when he's moved on. But I think the balance between finding an old grizzly SPFL veteran that could get them out the mire, or something with a bit of stardust, could be a decision they have to
See, that the thing is, like, like supporters want the kind of the shiny new name, don't they? I mean, it's what Motherwell, I think, have hit goal with the other guy. Any time that kind of come out, I've tried it. It hasn't quite worked out. I mean, we had the kind of Angelo Alicio spell, didn't we? Didn't go quite to plan.
Connor's key.
Yeah, that was a disaster, wasn't it? And then when they have gone for the more kind of safe and tried and tested Steve Clark, Derek McInnes, so that you think they might.
The only thing I would say again, see the Tommy Wright didn't quite, so that
clips, yeah,
pretty similar circumstances, maybe a bit later in the season, but it's hard. That's the thing as well. It's a challenge. I don't know.
So give me a name. You have to give me a name.
What about Tony Dock then? Even though, listen, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I know I've a gas. Right?
I'm trying to think. McKelly point of view. I mean, they've just been entered a 6-0 defeat in the championship.
But the case, I know Staggy fans will probably be up in arms of that shout. But we've seen recent evidence at Dundee and Wharton. He understands obviously what Kilmarnock's about. Derek McInnes been there previously. I think it might look, the optics might not be ideal, but I wouldn't surprise. He's got recent evidence of getting results in the Premiership. Did pretty well with Dundee overall. Why not? Listen, there's not going to be every candidate's going to flaws. As shocking as the shout is, who would you go for?
I think Stephen Naismith's a good shout. I mean, I know it's almost too obvious, isn't it? I mean, I know it's almost one of these ones. It's almost like kind of like knows the club, came through at the club. I mean, close with Steve Clark. I thought he did pretty well at Hearts at times. I know they had a difficult spell.
I know I'm just sticking the boot into managers, but I always felt with Naismith's biggest problem at Hearts was that it was almost overcoaching, overthinking opponents.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's tactically naive.
I think he'll learn from that as well.
Yep.
I think he would have learned from it. I just think it looks like a good fit. I think he'll learn from his Hearts experience. I think as he knows the club, I think he'd be quite a safe bet. He can always phone Clarkey for a bit of guidance as well.
Give up the Scotland gig, but with that, or can he still go to the World Cup?
Oh, he's letting me go to the World Cup, surely. Surely he can combine. He's only got 2 Scotland games in March, and it's summer.
Sounds like a good wee gig, actually.
I think it's I think he's a big good one for that one. But it's a great job, great club, great job. I think they should be fine. They're a great owner. Billy Bow knows what he's doing. He'll back his managers and all that stuff. I think it's a good one. But this is a question, right? This will be a question that comes more from the players, I think, and managers and all that stuff than it is from fans. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But is there too much football over the festive period? When the games are coming thick and fast, there's players that are staggering about right now. You hear managers moan about how tired they are. Is there too many games over the festive period? So we need to scale it back.
This is where I'm the ultimate hypocrite, because I think I'd be in that camp. There's too much football, it's ruined, but not at Christmas. You need to keep it going. They should probably play every day if they could. It's the one time of the year that it's just made. And I think with the Premier League down south, they're kind of a version with Boxing Day moving away and kind of stripping back the old. Remember, they were basically playing every 2 days back.
Yeah.
Premier League halcyon days, it was the case, right? But no, it's a one time. I think I would take the calendar getting reduced in other ways to keep. There's something magic. I think everyone knows that feeling in these big games. Like Christmas is only so good. Do you know what I mean? It's not as good as football every week. So you get a wee bit of Christmas, you get a bit of football. I would honestly, I would have them out every day playing and training. I know it's a bit harsh, but
I think I like the festive. I like the festive period of football, even though that us poor guys need to work over Christmas and New Year. Everyone's off enjoying themselves. We're all grafting away. Get the violins out.
It's a tough gig.
So I like it, but I think we have the calendar is. I mean, November, December, and Scottish football is a bit daft. I mean, we're getting to the point we're squeezing in 9-10 games in a calendar month, and you can see it on the pitch. I think you're looking at players that are looking a bit clapped out at times, and you get to this period and they do look as though they're feeling it. In the past, they could get that last push because they knew there was a kind of 2 or 3 week break coming up.
Yeah.
That's gone in the last couple of years now as well.
I think that's a miss.
So I think that is a psychological kind of blow to, I think, a few of them. So yeah, listen, from a sports science point of view, it probably is too many games, right? But from a guy who's one of the people who's sitting on the couch watching the football coming thick and fast, this is when you want your football. In this country, I mean, I think there is a feeling of that. I mean, I'm joking about us working, right? But I think getting up and going to a game and like on Boxing Day and all this kind of stuff, you can't beat it. It's part of your culture. You know what it's like. I mean, the Boxing Days, New Year's, that kind of mild hangover staggering to a game.
Feels right.
It's just that's just
leftovers.
This is just leftovers and just topping up your kind of TL and all.
I'm laughing as well. You're saying about the schedule as well, because if the viewers don't know, Michael gave Martin O'Neill a hell of a fright when he told him the calendar.
I did.
So yeah, he'll be another one joining us on the couch rather than the tall one. But he'll be on the touch.
Whatever his face was into in Denmark about how many games are coming up, and he went from saying I'm happy to stay on saying, oh wait a minute. Yeah. But listen, we're talking about the league in Scotland in the 3 or 4 horse race. I remember I'm glad Mull this mix now. But let's go down south. I think a few years ago we thought Arsenal was going to canter this, but not anymore. And I'm looking at the table and the kind of the names in about there and the formed teams. Obviously your Man City's, but Aston Villa. Can Aston Villa do a Hearts? Used to be do a Leicester, didn't it? Do you think Aston, are they the ones to look out for? Can Aston Villa win the league and sneak in ahead of Arsenal and Man City?
I think if you polled the best managers in the world, who they say that one of the best managers is, Unai Emery would be among them, right? He's always been a cup manager, right?
Murder interview, by the way.
Oh, I can imagine that.
Oh, terrible.
Let's focus on his stellar coaching career.
Just does not say I didn't say an interesting. I mean, his team's player, I think, exciting football, but not a quote that's usable.
Well, let's hope he's good when they win the league next season, because I think there's a half chance for the reason that we're talking about an elite coach who's always been at clubs where, for most, PSG's probably the difference there, but where it's like they peak for cup competitions, and I know they're in Europe this season, but I think Emery's more than smart enough to realise something's going on here. The Man City feel to me already the stronger bet than Arsenal. Arsenal's flaws are this kind of overpassing and big bodies and set plays. It just feels overcoached, and I know they were meant to win the league, and but sometimes life doesn't work like that. Man City look like they've got their mojo back, but Aston Villa, I really mean this, I don't think they've played their best stuff yet. I think they've played themselves into form, got this incredible run. I'm just saying, I think they're probably a few stages behind where Hearts are, in the sense, if you get to February, March and they're in the mix, I think they're a genuine option. I think the players that have been round the block. Yeah. Why not? Do you know what? Let's go for it.
Just think a lot of good attacking players. I mean, obviously we know John McGinn in there is the driving force, major hero.
You need a Marquee loan signing to get going. Or?
I think, I just think Arsenal. I think there's serious question marks about Bottle with Arsenal, which I think is interesting. And I just think the Man City as well. Yeah, they have won. Is it 4 or 5 in the bounce now? It looks like they've got that, like I say, got that together. But I think there's going to be question marks because there's already talk about Guardiola maybe ending into the season departing. I thought he might have, even last season, I thought it might have been a natural time for him to go then. I just think that's going to be overshadowing. And you see things in the background, like I think Maresca manoeuvring at Chelsea. Looks as though he's doing a Mourinho, trying to get himself out the door.
He had his pop. And
talking about the Jose Mourinho playbook.
Oh, what was that?
Like when somebody wants to out the door, he starts causing a few wee problems. See, I think he's angling himself to get out to get away from Chelsea, and I think he's the one that's going to be looking for the Man City job. So I think City might get distracted by all this, and I think Arsenal will crash, and I think Villa can sneak in there.
The Premier League job.
Hearts Villa double. I mean, it could be. I mean,
it could be in the.
Could be. Listen, I think it's listen, our betting history of this programme has been patchy at best. But we've picked the odd winner here and there.
Yeah.
But it's one to keep an eye on. It's going to
John McGinn's going to win the Premier League and then he's going to win the World Cup.
I mean,
not bad summer, is it?
Super John McGinn. What a double that would be. Right. Final question. We're going to change tack to go into the boxing. Well, I say boxing because there's a big question mark as well. This is actually a genuine boxing fight. Anthony Joshua's fighting. It's Jake Paul, isn't it?
Jake Paul.
There's a couple of these guys, isn't there? Jake Paul's the one.
Logan's a wrestler. He's a boxer.
Right. Okay. So Is this a fight worth watching? I mean, I must admit, I'll probably watch it, but I watch a lot of rubbish on TV sometimes, so I just don't know. I mean, is it worth the watch? Is it a genuine? I think that's what I mean. Is it a genuine sporting contest? No, it's not. Of course, it's not.
No.
The guy said what 8 fights? He's only fought one actual boxer,
Yeah.
hasn't he? Really?
He beat Chavez, but Chavez is so reduced that it's pretty grim. Do you know that way? Like, so it's just.
Yeah.
I know. No, I agree with you, and I think the thing here is that see the celebrity boxing that's like celeb versus celeb, right? It's not for me, but do your thing. Like, listen, the world moves on. You can't be an old timer. Like, listen, big marquee fights we've seen this year. Canelo Crawford's got its place, right? That'll always be there. But the worry, I think, is that if there is no kind of like AJ just targeting body, maybe not hurt this guy, that could be a concern because he just there's such he's campaigned at cruiserweight, Jake Paul. He's got no head movement. Anthony Joshua could be shot to pieces and could cause this guy life-changing damage. And I think even Anthony Joshua when he fought in Ngannou, there was a level of intrigue because Ngannou had put Fury in his backside.
Yeah.
There's no intrigue here. There's no intrigue here, and I think that it's for a generation that's beyond you and me. Like, this is celebrity, not boxing.
Listen, I'm allowed to jump into the naysayers about these celebrity kind of exhibition bouts because they've always happened. By the way, I mean, Muhammad Ali fought in these kind of things. He fought a sumo wrestler in Japan and all that stuff, and was it Hulk Hogan and all these guys?
Of course,
that's happened in the past, and it's a money making thing, right? Quite why I think it's an American thing. Because Americans don't mind the kind of fake sport. I mean, I stumbled across the wrestling thing. One of the guys had retired or something like that. There's a big thing about him retiring. You're like, well, he's just not going to be pretending to win matches anymore. He's like 58 years old or something like that. You're like, well, is that John? I can't say John Suter there. John see that. So, but Americans don't mind this kind of this razzmatazz kind of fake sport nonsense, right? So listen, fair play to the boys. They're making a few quid. But if it was a real fight, Anthony Joshua could decide to I mean, literally knock this guy out the building like a Marvel superhero. Do you know what I mean? That's the reality of it because the guy's only had, 8 or 9. I don't know,
he can't move his head.
Fight.
You see people at the gym that move their head, and this guy doesn't even know.
Listen, Anthony Joshua's an Olympic champion. I mean, boxing fundamentals all the way up, but multiple reigns at world heavyweight title. If Anthony Joshua decides he wants to stamp this guy into the ground, they could do. So he'll make a fight of it and he'll have a bit of fun with it, I think. I think you're right, the Gannon one was slightly different because there was people saying that this might actually be a fight. This boy, because if Gannon catches you, you're going to feel that one. But this Jake Paul could hit this guy. I mean, he could spend all day hammering Joshua's chest and he'd just be standing there. Again, Anthony Joshua, I'm a big fan of Joshua. I think I think he gets a hard rap from a lot of people. A really good guy.
One of the deepest CVs as well.
Yeah. Also, a wee story to finish with me. He fought against our Scottish guy, Gary
Cornish.
Gary Cornish a few years ago. I went down for the fight. It was 4 days in London. Fight lasted 89 seconds. And after the fight, he did all his press, and I thought I'm going to wait and try and get him just for the. I was only Scottish press there. I thought I'm going to try and get him for us just to get a wee bit extra from a Scottish angle. He's obviously taught his own fights and that. So after we'd done all his press stuff and we did the press, I said, I think can you just be. I spoke to him a couple of times in the past and the build up. So I wouldn't say we're best chums, right? But we got by our best chums. We still kiss my cards and all that. And I said, can you get a wee word for the Scottish press? And he came over and he'd still his shots on, the shirt off, sweat running down him. And I was like, blooming heck. That's a superhero standing in front of me, 6'7", right? Chiseled. But myself, really. Never felt so inadequate in my life. But again, he said, listen, the reason why I knocked out your man so quickly is because he hurt me in the first punch. He said, I can't risk fighting this guy over 12 rounds because he'll beat me. And you're like, it's a nice thing to say, right? I mean, it was complete nonsense, right? I mean, Gary would admit that himself. He was mismatched. And it was a different level. But then he said, hopefully I can fight a hand and not some Scottish. He fought there years earlier.
Ricky Burns under.
Yeah. No, in Scotland, sorry. I wanted to fight in Scotland. He's just a good guy, and I've always kind of followed him and kind of supported him. And I hope that he takes this semi-seriously and he
cements him.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't hurt the guy because it's going to be
a body shot. Would that not be nice for everyone?
Well, I think these kind of things have to be put to bed. So I think it's
Good on it. Go on, AJ.
I want AJ. I want him to get this out of the way, get his money in the bank, and then get into the Fury fight next year. I want a Fury trilogy the next 18 months.
That would be nice.
We're sick of hearing about it, and we know it's in the pipeline. Get it done, and a real fight, and we can. This is a selection box fight. We can sit and stuff our face and watch it and scoff in the morning. Yeah. But anyway, folks, it's Black Eye Friday, isn't it? So we're going to be stumbling out into the evening again for another. Nah, it's we've got to put on the Christmas jammies and sit by the fire.
That sounds perfect.
I think so. But listen, a big thank you for everyone who's tuned in this year. We've got a brilliant bunch of regular viewers and listeners, haven't we? That are
very complimentary in the comments. You don't always see that. So, mine's filters out. So
we get a few digs as well, which we don't mind the slaggings as well. But listen, thank you for watching all year.
Thank you very much.
You can catch us on usual socials on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and all the rest. We'll be back after the bells for more of the same old nonsense. Take care, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.